What is up, everybody? Welcome to the MF Film Room. Happy Monday. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to be up to date on all things EA College Football, hit that red subscribe button right now. Do it. Lightly tap it or hit it hard. I don't really care. You do it. Hit it right now. Also hit the like button too. Again, we're getting this family going right here. We are so excited for the game coming out. Get involved right now. Hit that red subscribe button. But please, also, if you're on X/Twitter, follow me as well. That fam is growing. Without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, guys, here we are. We are about 8-9 months away from the game coming out. We are so excited for it. What I wanted to do right now, in anticipation of EA College Football coming out in July of 2024, I wanted to make sure I could go through my 12-part series discussing different features, different schematics in the game. We're going to go over a couple things. We're going to go over offense, defense, special teams, recruiting, team builder, transfer portal. We're going over the athletic director mode, skills trees. We're going over dynasty builder, monetization, anything you can think of. We are going to be going through it. And again, I also encourage you guys, if you have certain topics you want me to discuss, get in the comments and let me know. I'll make videos about them. We're going to be an interactive community here. So the first video we're going to go over is over recruiting, one of the most anticipated ones regarding EA College Football as compared to Madden, because in Madden you offer contracts. They have that little free agency, thing where you can offer contracts here and there. We understand that, but maybe with NIL it's going to be a little bit similar. But for the most part, recruiting is the big differentiator between college football and pro football. What we're going to do is we're going to go over an old repost I had right now because I think it's completely relevant. Let's get into that video right now. So today's video is going to be about recruiting. Recruiting is arguably one of the biggest factors in separating Madden from NCAA. There is the scouting aspect of Madden, and it's kind of one of those situations where, if you win, you get a lower draft pick. If you lose, you get a higher draft pick. They kind of balance the league out like that. Whereas in college, Steve Spurrier said Nick Saban's not going to go back to the pros because Nick Saban goes to the pros. He gets one draft pick every year. If he goes to college and he stays in college, he gets 8 first-round picks every year because you get to recruit your players. It's really, really cool. It does create a scenario where you do feel like the top has a giant separation between the bottom, but that's college football. A lot of people like me, I like those lower conferences. I like those mid conferences. I like those top right conferences. I like all of college football. I don't really like the flex bone, but that is what it is. That's just because Air Force always beats Boise. They don't always beat Boise State, but they beat Boise State a lot with it. So like I said, recruiting is a huge aspect of college football, and it's a big aspect of why EA Sports college football is going to be way better than Madden. I'm telling you right now, just that feature alone, it is so much cooler. You have so much personalization in your team. Also the fact that, and I'm telling you too, a big aspect behind recruiting, which makes the game constantly feel fresh and constantly feel new, is the fact that your team every 4 to 5 years, maybe even beyond that too, if we have a couple of discussions about new rules here, every 4 to 5 years, your team is completely different. There's no more getting a good rookie quarterback, signing him to a 15-year deal, and then just going from there. Me personally, I like the newness. I like the difference. I like the change from season to season. Also, the shorter seasons help the fact that there's a lot more churn. There's a lot more updating of your team you can do as compared to Madden. So like I said, we are talking about recruiting today. We're going to go over 3 different items here. We're going to talk about its history. We're going to talk about factors to consider as the next game is coming forward, and then my recommendations. Let's get into this right now. All right, so the first thing here, we have previous versions. And again, I only went back to 2008. I did every game from 2008 up until 2014. I did a couple of these that are combined here, but I just wanted to make sure I brought this up. So you see here, NCAA 2008, you can make calls to find out recruits' interest pitches. Time can be spent unlocking pitch interest or making a pitch. Time at the top of the screen goes down the more actions you take. You see here, right here, it's got this little thing. If you start off with 10 hours, you might be able to get more and things like that, depending upon your coach. Players' interest is gauged by silly faces next to the call time remaining. That's this little stupid face right here. I'm sorry. That is one thing I'm going to let you know on my recommendations. Foreshadowing. I don't want these stupid faces, okay? And then players' interest is affected by their order in your recruit list. The higher that you rank them, the more that they feel appreciated, the more that it's going to factor into the recruiting. If you have a 5-star and you're giving him a ton of points, but you put him at the bottom, they're going to know that. Then we have NCAA 2009. Again, same as 2008 with a couple different changes. Now they added the quick call option. So the quick call is, I think the quick call is a valuable thing. Now, where it gets, I want to make sure we're clear about something. Quick call can be a short or long call depending upon the time you spent, but it was quick from the user's perspective. So you can have a quick call for an hour and a half. You could have a quick call for 75 minutes, excuse me. So that quick call is quick from your perspective. You press A, quick call, give max time, get out of there. And then you're able to discover your large interest gain from pitching championship contender, large interest gain from pitching championship contender. And then some of the pitches were discovered in this call and relayed to you in the screen, like I just said. And one of my more favorite interfaces compared to the other games. I wanted to make sure here, this kind of covered it up, but I wanted to bring this down here so you could see the fact that, and again, this was at the very beginning. You enter your recruiting page and it has this. Has your player, has their position, interest. Wow, with change, are they going up? Are they going down? What stage are they at? Okay, they're in their top 5. They're only in their top 8. Okay, did you make their top 5? Did you make their top 8? Are you able to visit them? Are they ready for a visit? When's it scheduled? And then whether or not you have offered them and how many total offers they have for them. Then we go to 2010 and 2011 and make sure here that the top and the bottom. So 2010 is the top, 2011 is the bottom. So you see there's some adjustments, but not many. Recruit attitude, goofy face is now color coordinated in 2010. So you see here this little goofy face is now color coordinated. It's green when they're happy, and then it's red when they're not. It says right here, again, I don't know when this was updated, but each pitch is now worth 10 points, and that's right here. And I don't know if it was 2010 or 11 or previously, but basically you could say, I want to talk about 2 topics, that's 20 minutes. Each topic is 10 minutes and so on. And then you see here, you can now do a quick call with a certain number of subjects at random. Like I said right here, it would just shoot those topics out there. So it'd be like 6 topics, I don't know, just take care of it. That's now in that quick call feature. Then we get to 2012 and 2013. There was a couple things that I really liked here. I personally loved this 2012 interface. I love this right here. You go into the call, you can say you can make a pitch for a campus lifestyle. You can ask them what he thinks about campus lifestyle, unlock it. You can compare to somebody else, especially the teams that he's being recruited against. You can change the topic to something else, and you can make a promise to them that season. Like I said here, you're able to recruit against other specific pitches. Easy call interface. I love that. Added call time for scouting per week. And again, you see here at the top of this board here, this is the 2013 version. They have the call time here at the top and then the scout time up here at the top as well. This was one thing that was really, really goofy. I'm going to see if I can make the noise. Okay. So in 2013, this bottom picture down here, when you're scouting or rating, it goes up, it gives you a positive sound and a borderline fart noise when something goes down. So you see here this acceleration, it will do something like free. And then what it would do, it would go down. So like this, you see the throw accuracy went down. Let me see if I can do the sound. It was like, it was like kind of I think it's supposed to be like a horn. Again, I'm just guessing here, but it definitely at least 50% sounds like a fart noise. And then we come over here to 2014. So 2014 is a little bit different. It says right here, instead of a call time, it was now points per week. Pitches factor into bonus points, which is passive rather than active. We're going to talk about that passive rather than active here in a second. Recruits could have a deal breaker with a school, a pitch that doesn't meet a certain threshold they require. So this one happens a lot. Even if it was like a B-, but they required it to be an A, they would not be interested in you at all. Also, it's one of those factors that if they were to overcome that, it might be one of those reasons why they transfer away later on. Scouting scholarship points offered switch over to coaching points as well. You could not offer promises in season. I've been playing to NCAA 2014 4 years, legitimately the entire time. I have never found this in season. If somebody's about to leave, you can offer them a promise, but that's the only situation. And then I think here I said that each item tab is a bit clunky in my opinion, and I would it would be better with a summary page like 2009. Again, you have to go through each person. You have to cycle through. It's a little slow. I didn't like that much. Again, my future reference, that's going to be included in my recommendations. All right, and remember I said here, we went over history. We're going to go over factors to consider. What the recruit contact actually looks like, what scouting looks like, what pitches look like, and what visits and promises look like. These are my breakdown of them. Again, some of these kind of bleed over into each other, but these are the 4 big areas I want to discuss. So here with recruit contact, so there's 2 aspects of recruit contact. There's phone calls and then your points and or time. So phone calls is active recruiting. It's more time consuming, and again, more time consuming from your perspective actually going through and doing it. I think it needs a stronger feedback mechanism rather than a smiley/frowny face. That's my personal. The smiley frowny face was just dumb. That's why I'm a big proponent of the points. Again, foreshadowing for the future. Then there was points. It was a more passive recruiting method. It was way quicker. It was not as immersive. It's not as interactive. You couldn't concentrate. Like, dude, this guy here is here. He really, really likes athletic facilities. We don't have the best athletic facilities, so I don't want you to concentrate on athletic facilities. I want you only to talk about championship contender, which we have really good. That is going to happen a lot in real life, and I think the game needs to reflect real life as much as possible. Next up here is scouting. So there's how to scout and what is discovered in scouting. Those are the two factors there. So how to scout, there's points or there's phone call time and whatever you want to do there. What is discovered in scouting? So a player's overall grade or a player's overall ability, and then position-specific skills. So you discover all of them. Awareness is usually not discovered, but again, like that. So you're not going to discover every single factor of a player. So sometimes their injury is going to be hidden. A wide receiver's run block is typically going to be hidden. Things like that. You're not going to find everything out. Next, we get to pitches. So with pitches, it's based on mostly static items. Athletic facilities is static. It's just based on the game. Campus lifestyle is relatively static, and there's other things like that. The dynamic items are items that can change a lot in between player to player. So like as an example, playing time. Some players are coming in and they have a whole bunch of studs. Their playing time is going to be pretty low. Their play style also is very important too. If you throw the ball every single play and you have a pass-happy quarterback, he's going to like that versus if you run the option a whole bunch and he's a pocket quarterback. All right, so visits and promises. So the way that it works right now is visits are scheduled by the head coach. Could be during a game week or during a bye week. Usually only official visits, and again, foreshadowing for the future. And then visits during games got way more points than during buys. The reason being is because they have things to go off of. If you go there, you're successful. If they're a running back and they have a lot of rushing yards, they know, oh, I'm going to come to this team. They run the ball a lot, things like that. Promises could be made during calls or if a player wants to leave in the off season. So again, it used to be where you could make a promise during the call. It was kind of taken away and just moved to the off season. But you could guarantee not to recruit a player at their position. You could also guarantee whether or not you're going to win the national championship, whether or not they're going to not regret getting their degree, whether or not they will play 3, 6, or 9 games, things like that, accumulate a certain amount of stats at their respective positions. All of those could be promised. Again, the later games, it was only promised during the off season. All right, the moment we've all been waiting for, my recommendations. So in terms of recruit contact, what I want active and passive options. And again, basically what it is, I prefer the points. I definitely prefer points. You see points over phone time right there. I also want to make sure here we understand that passive is quicker from the user's perspective, but active offers more rewards in the same way that, again, it's similar to side questing in other video games. If you go through all the side quests and then you do the main quests, you're usually going to be a much stronger player. You've put in a lot more time. I think the same thing needs to happen here with the recruiting. Also allow for different coaches to call. Position coach can call, coordinator can call, head coach can call. Also have official and unofficial visits. That would be awesome because the unofficial visit, usually they come up themselves. An official visit is paid for by the school. There's a certain amount of procedure usually surrounded with that. Also allow for comparison pitches during those recruit contacts. Hey, I know you're talking to Georgia. They're talking about playing time. Well, our playing time looks way better. That has to be able to happen during those phone calls because that happens in real life with those recruits. There needs to be a summary tab if tabs are used. And again, I like that. The summary tab just makes it so much quicker and easier. It also lets you know where your things are that you have to address. It's not as clunky. You don't have to find it. I like one specific spot where you can see everything. And then no more dumb faces to gauge. Okay, that's just stupid. All right, I'm sorry. That was childish. It is what it is. Everybody holds an L from time to time. Just move on. All right, now time for my recommendations on scouting. So again, I want to make sure we here use this. Use points from a points bank. Same thing. I actually like the points system. The call time, it's cool because, oh yeah, because this is how it actually works. But like, I like it. Just points just makes it simple. It puts it all into the same bank, and it's able to adjust that because you can scale those up depending upon how good you are. Full scouting should not be an option. There's a lot of mystery with these players that you're not going to know. It should not be a stock option, if anything. And again, this is an if here. As you said right here, make scouting coaching points much more difficult to obtain. Anybody who's played NCAA football 2014, they know that if you had to choose between the coaching abilities and the coaching recruiting aspects, if you put 3 points into not being able to be iced or 3 points into scouting, one is going to yield exponentially more rewards, and it's not being iced on a field goal. Again, this next item here, I want to make sure we're clear. Some items should already be known. If this game is a true simulation game, this needs to reflect real life as much as possible. I'm telling you, if you're a 4 or a 5-star player, scouting combines discover basic speed, strength, and jump ability, other things like that on most top recruits 4 and 5 stars. You go to these combines, again, everybody is invited, but you're the number 1 player in the country. They're going to know how high you can jump, how strong you are, and so on. That's not going to be a mystery. So those top flight recruits, it already should be kind of understood. I do think they should be very, very difficult to get. That's how they're going to make up for the fact that you can save some points on scouting. But then, like, as an example, I think that scouting is a big aspect of is these hidden gem recruits, 3 stars or below will not have these discovered, and you'll have to do more research. But again, I think that would be very, very fruitful for those who are willing to do that, because college football, there's a lot of players. I did my obscure prospect series. A lot of those guys are 2,000th, 1,500th, 2,000th best player in the country. Now they're getting drafted into the NFL. This is another big one. There should be 0-star recruits. Recruits that played 1 year football, very remote markets, very crowded markets. Again, this is how it works. If you go to any of the recruiting databases, they have 5 all the way down to 0. They should have some 0-star recruits. I really, really like that option because it allows you to like have a very, very good niche of looking at certain places. Also be able to like, I want to establish, it'll be easier to establish pipelines because you're going to go a bunch of run star guys, also scout them up pretty well. Again, I do think it needs to be not as fruitful as getting 5-star guys, obviously, but I do think that would be an awesome option to add. All right, now we're talking about pitches. So again, here, so we think what we have to keep static and dynamic pitches, have the ability to change static pitches more quickly with certain coaching points, would be way high-level coaching points. Like I said, if you're a coach, you should be able to affect some of those different things. Athletic facilities, talk to your AD or things like that. Again, that might be foreshadowing for some future videos, but we're going to get there in a second. Allow for pitches to be highlighted. Again, the passive didn't allow you for pitches to be highlighted. I want that to be happening because that's what college coaches do. They're not going to be like, all right, so what's the 3 most important things to you? We're not good at any of those. All right, well, I guess we're going to talk about really crappy conversations. They would avoid that. Also allow for pitch objections to be overcome. If somebody's negatively recruiting against you, you should be able, if with enough time, some recruits can come back to you based on being able to flip that from the fact that somebody's negatively recruiting your conference prestige and you're able to highlight certain things, maybe win certain games, something like that. Also allow for pitches to lose ground due to pitch comparison. So pitch comparison, I'm telling you right now, if somebody is recruiting against you and they're hitting you hard, or 4 schools are hitting you hard on something, it's going to really affect you with that candidate, with that recruit. So I think that should happen. You should also allow for pitches to become stale. This is just a logical thing you discover when you talk about people. You should not be able to make contact with a recruit and talk about facilities for a weekly 1-hour phone call. You can't call him 14 times and have 14 hours worth of discussions on how awesome the weight room is or how awesome the cold tub is and so on and so forth. You have to be able to have them become stale. They used to have it to where if you made a phone call and you threw time into athletic facilities, eventually they'd be that green face and then it would flip to a red face if you did it too much. I think they need to have that, but done in a better way and not nearly as goofy as the freaking faces. And then my recommendations for visits and promises. So have visits remain largely the same. I like the way that they were. Have players be able to touch on specific items for their visits. So again, if somebody's really into academics, it used to be where you could be like, oh, hey, they're going to go to a seminar on this. They're going to go to this or something like that. You'd have different things that they could concentrate on that. But I also want to make sure, I'd also like the later idea of having in-game performance affect their overall visit. Again, if you go there and you lose 50-0, you know, again, if the game on-field aspects matter to them, that needs to factor in huge to the recruit. Have promises be able to be given in season and not only when someone wants to leave. Again, I want to bring that back, but to adjust for that, because the game you could make a promise and then, you know, if it came through or not, it wasn't nearly as damning if you broke a promise. But have broken promises be huge negatives to a coach's reputation that will get out there, that will also affect their coach prestige or coach trust or something like that. I think that needs to be a big part of the upcoming game. So those are my recommendations. What are your guys' recommendations? Get in the comments right now. Let me know. Like I said, follow me on Facebook and Twitter as well. Again, follow me on IG. I'm going to get that link in there too. But I just haven't logged into Instagram nearly as much. But like I said, I'm going to be getting on all of these. Reach out to me the best way you feel is the best for you, and we'll go from there. But like I said, get in the comments. What do you want to change? What do you want to have be the same? What different aspects of recruiting do you want to be included in this game? Let me know. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. I'd really appreciate it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm out.